Have you ever walked away from an argument and just felt disturbed? Maybe someone challenged your political views, your religion, your philosophy, or any belief you care deeply about. And then something about the conversation got under your skin. And even though it was over, you carried that feeling around for hours, maybe even days. You replayed the conversation in your head, going over what was said, what you should have said, until eventually you either find some kind of closure or the feeling simply fades away. Maybe you've even felt it physically, that knot in your stomach, that tightness in your chest. Why is that? Why can a few sentences from another person have such a powerful effect on us? For a long time, I thought this was just a part of being human. But eventually I started wondering if there was something deeper going on. Because if someone tells you your favorite ice cream flavor is terrible, you probably don't care. But if they tell you your political views are ridiculous, or your religion is nonsense, or your philosophy doesn't make sense, suddenly it feels personal. So what's different? Why can one conversation stay with me for days, while another is forgotten before I even get home? I started paying attention to the kinds of opinions that actually got under my skin, and I noticed they all had something in common. They weren't just ideas. They were ideas I had become attached to. Somewhere along the way, they stopped being things I believed, and they started feeling like a part of me. The best way I've found to think about it is this. Imagine your opinions are like dogs. Most people don't just have opinions, they own them. And the moment you own a dog, you become attached to it. Now imagine taking your dog to a dog park. Sooner or later, it's gonna run into other dogs. Some will get along, others won't. Eventually, your dog gets into a fight. Maybe another dog knocks it over. Maybe it bites it. Maybe it scratches it. Maybe it makes your dog bleed. Maybe your dog loses, right? Suddenly, you're emotionally invested. You get angry at the other dog. Maybe even angry at the other owner. Because this isn't just any dog. It's your dog. I think we do exactly the same thing with our opinions. The moment we stop saying, this is an interesting idea, and start saying, this is my idea, we've put our name on its collar. Get it? Now, when someone attacks the opinion, it doesn't feel like they're criticizing an idea. It feels like they're criticizing us. And that's why arguments can hurt so much, not because ideas are fragile, but because we've mistaken them for part of our identity. So what do we do? How do we get around this? Well, it seems to me there are two ways to avoid this. The first is simple. Don't take your dog to the park. If you know your dog is going to get into fights, just keep it at home. In other words, keep your opinions to yourself. Don't bring them into conversations. Don't debate them. Don't expose them to criticism. Now, at first, that sounds like a pretty good solution. After all, if your dog never meets another dog, it never gets hurt. But there is a problem. If your dog never leaves the house, it never learns how to behave around other dogs. I think our opinions are the same. If they are never challenged, if they never run into opposing ideas, how will they ever change? How will they ever improve? So yes, keeping your dog at home protects it, but it also keeps it isolated. And I don't think that's the kind of peace of mind we're looking for. The second option is different. Take your dog to the park anyway. Let it meet other dogs. Let it be challenged. Maybe it will win, maybe it'll lose. Maybe another dog will teach it something your dog didn't know. But whatever happens, remember that it's just a dog, not you. I think that's the relationship we should have with our opinions. Have them, share them, question them, defend them if you think they're right. But don't become so attached that every disagreement feels like a personal attack. Your opinions should help you understand the world. They shouldn't become your identity. Because the moment they do, you've stopped searching for what's true, and you've started searching for reasons why you have to be right. You know, none of this actually started with me trying to invent a philosophy. It actually started with an old expression, having no dog in the fight. We usually use it to mean we don't have a personal stake in the outcome. But I think sometimes old expressions carry more wisdom than we give them credit for. We might understand them instinctively, but we rarely stop to unpack them. And when you do, you realize there was a surprisingly deep idea hiding inside a simple phrase. Now, if you think I'm completely off the rails here, or that this is just some strange philosophy I made up, it's worth mentioning that a very similar idea appeared over 2,000 years ago. There was a Greek philosopher named Pyrrho. Unlike me, he wasn't looking for a way to avoid disturbance from heated discussions. He was looking for certainty. He wanted to know what was actually true. But the more he listened to different philosophers, the more he noticed something. For almost every argument, there seemed to be another argument that was just as convincing. Eventually, he stopped asking, which side should I believe? And he started asking, am I actually justified in choosing either side? He even questioned how much we should trust our own senses. Think about putting a straight stick into water. It looks bent, but take it back out and it looks straight again. Which appearance should you trust? Pyrrho's point wasn't that your senses are useless. It was that things are often less straightforward than they first appear. So his answer was to suspend judgment, not because he believed nothing was true, but because he didn't think he had enough reason to confidently pick one side over the other. Anyway, the reason I brought him up is this. According to the tradition that followed him, something unexpected happened. By letting go of the need to always decide who was right, he found a kind of inner calm. The Greeks even had a word for it, ataraxia. Hopefully I didn't butcher it, but it means a state of tranquility, a mind that isn't constantly being pulled around by every disagreement. Whether Pyrrho was right about everything isn't really the point. What interests me is that Pyrrho and the philosophers who followed him noticed something we've been talking about this whole time. Sometimes, the less tightly we cling to our opinions, the more peaceful our minds become. So maybe the next time you find yourself in an argument, picture a dog bark. Dogs are going to bark. They're going to chase each other. Sometimes they're even going to fight. That's just what happens when different dogs share the same space. Ideas aren't much different. The goal isn't to stop disagreements. The goal is to stop feeling like every disagreement is happening to you. Let your dog run. Let it meet other dogs. If it turns out another dog is stronger, or better trained, or simply right, that's okay. Your dog isn't you. Maybe that's what having no dog in the fight has meant all along. Not that you should stop having opinions, but that you should stop putting your identity on their collar. Because once you do, an argument stops being a battle over who you are and becomes what it was supposed to be all along. Two ideas meeting in the park. Thank you for watching.